everybody, my name is Mars. You can call me MG if you would like. Today is September 13th, which means it is the start of this year's round of the Summer Scare Readathon, one of my favorite readathons ever. I'm so excited for it to finally be here. It is running from the 13th to the 21st, so the last little chunk of summer. I just love this readathon. It's so great every year. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Summer Scare Readathon is hosted by Jess over at the Hext Library. Definitely check her out if you haven't already. She's been on a bit of a hiatus from YouTube this year, but I think she's making a comeback now, and it is the perfect time for that because she loves all things spooky, so there's going to be some great content coming out for spooky season. I did do some doubling up on the prompts. There are 9 prompts for this readathon in a little 3x3 bingo board, but I've done some doubling up, so I only have 5 books on this TBR, and they are all books that I'm very excited to be getting to, and I cannot decide which one I want to start with. So I think we are going to do a little spinner wheel, and we're going to let fate decide what order I get to these books in. So let's just cut to that to figure out what the first book I'll be reading this week is. So you may notice that there are only 4 books on this wheel when I said that I had 5 books on my TBR. That is because I'm still waiting on one of my books to come in from the library. If it comes in by the time I get through all of these, fantastic, I will read it at the end, or if it comes in earlier, then I'll add it to the wheel. If it doesn't come in, then I do have a backup to cover the prompts that book is supposed to cover, but I am hoping that it comes in. For now, though, we do have these 4 options, and let's just see what I will be starting with, and then I'll tell you what prompts it covers. I am so freaking happy that this won. Definitely the thing I'm most anticipating out of the list, I think. Alright, so as you saw, the book that won the picker wheel was Dear Mothman by Robin Gao. This book is one that I'm so excited to read. I did not know it existed until I was doing some research to cover these prompts. So this covers the prompt of a middle grade book and also a book that includes a cryptid. Originally, I was trying to find a book that had the Jersey Devil in it because I am from New Jersey and I'm very proud of our cryptid. I couldn't find anything that sounded interesting to me, so I broadened my horizons. And then I found this, and it just sounds so good. It follows our main character, what is his name? Noah. So Noah is in the 6th grade. He is a trans boy, and he has just experienced the death of his best friend and the only other trans boy that he knows. So obviously a very tumultuous, emotional time in his life. He doesn't really know how to cope with these feelings and these emotions, so he starts to write letters to his favorite cryptid, Mothman, as a way of processing all of these emotions. And this book is told in verse and also has images in it. So I guess it also has some letters, but the letters are kind of told in verse, but you can see here, this is a poem written as a list of questions. Here's a more traditionally formatted poem. And I'm just so excited for this. There is an Uno reverse card. Oh, whoa, excuse me. Came out of nowhere. There's an Uno reverse card that was in it when I picked it up from the library, and I'm kind of just gonna leave it there because what am I gonna do with an Uno reverse card? But yeah, I'm so excited to be reading this, so I'm glad that we are kicking off the readathon with a very intriguing book. And also, this cover is so beautiful. The glare from the library plastic is a little bit annoying, but, stunning. So I will get started on this and give you updates as I go along. Okay, friends, it has been a couple of hours since I, excuse me, started this vlog and picked out my first book, and I've done some reading. I am already just past the 100-page mark, so about a third of the way into Dear Mothman, and I'm loving this. It's so good. It's already made me, like, teary-eyed. Also, our main character is autistic, which I didn't expect, and that's representation I love. If you didn't know, I myself am autistic, so I love reading about autistic characters. This also takes place in Pennsylvania, where I live. Not really anywhere near where I live. I live in Philadelphia, and they did mention a town. I don't know if I remember, but it's someplace on the eastern side of the state. So, like, not super far, but a little far away. But that was, an interesting little coincidence that it's kind of almost sort of set near where I live. But yeah, I'm having a really good time. I do want to make a correction about the premise. Noah doesn't start writing to Mothman because Mothman is his favorite cryptid. He starts writing to Mothman because Mothman was his dead best friend's favorite cryptid. And he has decided that his 6th grade science fair project is going to be proving that Mothman exists in honor of his friend Lewis, and he's obviously running into some struggles there, but he's pushing on. He has started making friends with these 3 girls, and he starts not quite coming out to people because he still isn't quite sure fully how he feels about being a boy and all of that. He's, like, questioning, like, am I really a boy if I just want to be one? And, you know, basic things that people who are discovering their transness think to themselves. But he does ask for his new friends to call him Noah, and his mom overhears and is just like, is that a name you would like to be called? And he's like, yeah, and she's like, okay. So his parents start calling him Noah. It's very cute, and I really do love it, and it's super fast-paced because it is told in verse, and I really like all of the drawings and doodles. I think that is a nice little bonus to the story. So yeah, I'm going to keep reading for a little while. I do have to get ready for work in a little over an hour, so I'm probably, oh, excuse me. I have had this cough for like 2 weeks now, and it just will not go away. Anyway, I'm probably not going to finish this today because I have work from 4 to 11, and last night I also worked until 11. I didn't get home until almost midnight because even though I was scheduled till 11, didn't get out till 11:30. We are very understaffed right now because everyone just started going back to school. Anyway, I'm probably just going to read for this next hour and then be way too tired to do any reading when I get home tonight. I'll probably just go straight to bed, but I am gonna keep going on this and maybe update you again somewhere in this next section, or maybe I'll just see you when I finish this. We'll find out together. Good morning, friends. It is 10:30 a.m. on Sunday, and I have finished reading Dear Mothman. This was absolutely the cutest book I've ever read, but at the same time, it's so, like, emotional, and it's just so well constructed. I had a fabulous time reading this. It did make me tear up at several points, and the ending is not quite what I expected, but it did feel satisfying as a conclusion, you know? So I'm very, very glad that I was able to pick this up and read it. I think it's so wonderful. And my one friend, because I posted on my Instagram story that I was reading this, and my one friend who, like, loves Mothman, she was like, oh my god, I am checking this out from my library immediately. And I'm like, yes, do it. This is so good. So yeah, one book down for the Readathon, and that means we get to pick the next one. I have my 2 other physical books here, as well as an ebook already ready to go on my phone if that's the one we get. So let's check out the wheel and see what it gives us. So here we've got our wheel. Let's give it a spin. Oh. Oh. Okay. Not quite what I wanted, but I mean, I did put it on the TBR, so. So as you saw, I got The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka as my next read. This covers the prompt of Out of Comfort Zone, because I don't like bugs, and this is a story about a man who turns into a big bug. And it's also for under 200 pages. This is only, I think it's like 55 pages, very short. This has a lot of like supplemental text and critical essays and stuff. I'm not going to be reading those. I'm just going to be reading The Metamorphosis. And excuse me, being as short as it is, it shouldn't take me too long. I might be able to read it all today. This copy I got at a yard sale, and it kind of smells like cigarette smoke, which is not great, but I can deal with it for a little bit. I wasn't planning on keeping this copy anyway. I kind of just got it at the yard sale to read and then unhaul because, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of this edition, even if I end up loving the story and wanting a version of it on my shelves. I was probably always going to get a different copy than this one, but it was like $1. So, yeah, I guess this is what I'm reading next. And being as short as it is, I don't think I'm going to update you partway through. I think I'm just going to let you know when I finish it. So I will see you when that happens. Okie dokie, friends, I am back. It has been several hours since I updated you last, and I have in fact finished reading The Metamorphosis. I don't know what it was about the book, maybe like the tiny font or something, but when I first started reading it, I found it like hard to stay concentrated, and I was kind of getting a little bit drowsy. Maybe I also just been sitting down for too long today. I don't know. But a little bit into it, I decided to find an audiobook for it, and I popped that on while I did a bunch of chores around the house, like washing dishes, cleaning up, that sort of thing. And I think actually getting up and moving my body was great. It made me feel a lot less tired. And so I did the whole middle chunk of the book as an audiobook, and then I came back and finished reading it out physically. And I actually really enjoyed this. It wasn't as creepy and gross as I thought it would be, based on the fact that the main character turns into a giant bug. I was preparing myself for the worst in that regard, but it actually wasn't terrible. There was some kind of like gross description, but it wasn't like gratuitous, if that makes sense. And I actually found this to be so well written. And like, I personally read it as an allegory for a family member becoming disabled. I think it is very compatible with that kind of interpretation, and of course, probably compatible with a million other interpretations, but that's how I was reading it. And I really enjoyed my time with this, surprisingly. I was not expecting that. But, yeah, we're on day 2 of this readathon, and we've already got 2 books down, so it's time to pick our next one. Out of the 2 books left on the wheel, I definitely have a preference because one book is a physical book, one is an ebook, and I'm kind of feeling an ebook right now, but honestly, I would not be upset with either. So let's spin the wheel and see which one I'll be reading next. You know the drill by now. Let's just hit the spin button and see what happens. Alright, that is exactly what I was hoping for. So as you saw, the wheel has decided that I will be reading The Giver by Lois Lowry. This is the only book on my TBR that does not cover more than one prompt. The only prompt it covers is a book from someone else's TBR, and it is cheating a little bit to put it there, but it is the Nostalgia Train book club pick for the month of September, so it is on the TBR of everyone in the book club, and so I was going to read this anyway, but it is technically from other people's TBRs, so I'm counting it. I read this book when I was, I think, in like 5th or 6th grade, and I don't remember anything of the actual story, but I remember not liking it. I don't know what aspects I disliked because, like I said, I don't remember anything about the book, but I'm curious to see how I feel about it now. And I know this is the start of a series, so if I do end up enjoying it, that would be adding a series to my series tracker, and we all know I do not need to be doing that right now, but it's fine. We will cross that bridge when we get there. Like I said, this is an ebook that I have through Libby. I believe this is another short book. I don't think it's very long at all. But yeah, I will be starting this probably tomorrow because I am getting ready for work in just about half an hour and then heading in, and I don't get out until 10 p.m. today. So I'm going to be very tired when I get back, and I will probably not want to do any reading. So I'll get started on The Giver tomorrow and come update you when I've got an update. Hello friends, it is Monday night. It's like just past 8:30 p.m., but I'm here with an update because I have hit the midpoint of The Giver, and I am starting to think that I haven't actually read this book, and whatever book I read as a kid and disliked, I just like transposed The Giver into that memory. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I really don't remember any of this. And usually when I reread a book, even if I'm rereading it for the first time in years and years and years, as I'm reading it, I will be like, "Oh yes, I recall what it was like to read this book the last time I read it." But I'm not getting that here. All of this feels completely new to me. I don't remember reading this, and I don't think I have. It's bizarre. Anyway, the start of this was actually really slow. I liked the pacing on the introduction of the different elements because this is a dystopian book, and I liked the way things were laid out to the reader in like these are the different elements of this dystopian society, but I still would have liked a little bit more happening, you know? And then I got to about a third of the way through, and I'm not gonna give like spoilers or anything, but Jonas, the main character, gets his assignment, and that's where I've started to be like, actually, this is really intriguing. He gets like a new list of rules to follow, and when I was reading that like list of rules, I was like, oh, this is this is strange. I need to know more. And now that he's actually undergoing this training, I'm very intrigued. I have absolutely no idea where this is going to go, but I am interested in continuing. Like I said, it is a short book. My ebook is like 250 pages, and I'm already halfway through. I am almost positive I will finish this tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to that because I want to know what's going to happen next. So, I will see you, I guess, when I finish the book, and I will give you my final thoughts. Good morning, friends. It is 8:30 a.m. on Tuesday, and I woke up nice and early, ready to go to my friend Anna's live stream. I was going to get some good writing done this morning, and then my internet cut out. Apparently, it is like maintenance work on it. It's not anything awful, like this was scheduled. I just didn't know about it. But obviously, I had to change my plans, so I was reading instead, and I have finished The Giver, and that was good. I enjoyed that book. I didn't love it, but I thought it was a good use of my time to read it. I do feel the same way about The Giver as I did about The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, which I read a few months back, also for the Nostalgia Train book club. And that feeling is that someone in their teens would probably get a lot more out of this reading it for the first time than I would as an almost 27-year-old reading it for the first time, which apparently this was, because I genuinely don't think I read this before, and whatever book I thought was The Giver, I don't know what it could be. It's fine, we're just gonna move on. But I did still get quite a bit out of this, and I think I will continue on with the series, I'm not gonna make it like a major priority. Oh, excuse me. I told you I woke up super early for this. I've been up since like 6:45. Yeah, I'm not gonna make the series a huge priority, but I would like to check out the other books in the quartet. So there are 3 more. But we do now have to move on to our next book for this readathon, the Summer Scare Readathon, and we no longer have the wheel to spin. For starters, my Wi-Fi's down, so I can't even pull up the wheel, but also I have not yet received that last book from the library, and I'm starting to think I'm not going to, and then I'm just gonna have to put my backup in place, and that's totally fine. But the next book we'll be reading, the last one that was on the wheel, is Whisper Down the Lane by Clay McLeod Chapman. This is a horror book, so it covers the thriller/horror prompt, and it also covers the spooky word in title prompt. I'm counting whisper as a spooky word. This, I believe, is dual timeline following this guy. In the 1980s, this kid named Sean is 5 years old, and he tells a lie, and that spirals out of hand, and a whole bunch of stuff happens, a moral panic. And 30 years later, we follow Richard, who is Sean. He just has had a name change, and a bunch of stuff happens. I don't know. I've never read from this author before, but I have seen people enjoy this. It is, if I get past all of the bonus things in the back of the book, 294 pages, so not even 300. It's another short one, although not as short as some of the ones that I've been reading for this vlog. But yeah, I'm going to start this at some point and give you updates. You know how vlogs work at this point. I don't know why I'm explaining it to you every time, but yeah, I'm excited to pick this up. Hello friends, it is still Tuesday. It is about 9:30 p.m. I am 20% of the way into Whisper Down the Lane. I'm gonna DNF this. I just am so not gelling with this writing style. I don't know how to describe what it is, but it's just so hard for me to read, and it's so off-putting. And the flipping back and forth between the 2 timelines, normally that's something that I like in books, or at least I don't hate it. It's not something I love, but I normally don't struggle with that. Here, I feel like we're cutting at such weird times, and the little snippets we're getting don't really stand on their own as scenes. I feel like we need more before we cut to the next timeline. I don't know. It's not working for me on a long list of ways, so I think it's just best to cut my losses and call it a day on that. So yeah, disappointing, but it is what it is. I can put this back into a little free library. I didn't spend any money on it, so I don't feel bad at all. I mean, I wouldn't feel bad about DNFing anyway, but I don't know. I've got it out of a little free library. I'm gonna put it back in a little free library. Continue the little ecosystem of books we have here. But yeah, that is that, I guess. And then we get to move on. Now, technically, I have several days, quite a few days. We're only halfway through this readathon. And so I could wait to see if my hold comes in from the library that was originally on this TBR, and I would just read something else until whenever. But I don't want to do that. I just want to continue on, finish this out in one chunk, And if that means the readathon ends early for me, it ends early for me. That's fine. So I am going to read my backup pick. So the last two prompts, these cars going by drive me crazy. The last two prompts that I have to fulfill are diverse to me and a book with a gravestone on the cover. So I will be reading a manga for this, and that is Marygrave, is what it's called. I don't remember who this is by, but this is a short series. I think it's 5 volumes, and it's about this guy. His name's like Reisman or something like that. I just read the blurb like an hour ago, and I'm already forgetting. But he lives in this world where it's a lot of bad stuff happening. It's kind of just generally a tough time for everybody. But he found the love of his life. They had some good time together. She ends up dying. Reisman, I'm pretty sure that's his name, decides that he is going to gather these ingredients to try and perform this spell recipe thing to bring back his wife. And these rumors of this thing that you can do to bring back the dead, he knows is true because his wife performed it for him and brought him back to life and turned him into this immortal, undying creature. So, that sounds pretty good. I've heard great things about it. I I have looked at the art style, and it's kind of old. Like, it feels very 90s art to me, which is interesting because this manga is from, I believe, 2016, 2017 is when it started coming out. Like, it's not super old, but the art style does look kind of outdated, which is fine. 90s art style is not my favorite when it comes to manga, but I will deal with it. I am excited to read this. I will probably start it in bed tonight and then work through it tomorrow. I do, in fact, have work from 11 to 5 yet again, but that's fine. I'm still gonna have plenty of time throughout the day. I do have a bunch of other things that I have to do tomorrow, but it's okay. I think I'm just gonna read all 5 volumes and come talk to you at the very end because that doesn't seem like a whole lot. And also, like manga, it's like structured differently than Western novels. I don't know. It's just gonna be the easiest for me to update you all the way at the end of the series. So I will see you when I get there. Hello, friends. It is 7:40 p.m. on Wednesday, and I'm here to tell you that I have learned something about myself. And what I've learned is that I am not the manga binge reader that I once was. Over the past, I'd say like 2-ish years, I've been reading a lot less manga than I had in the past. And I used to binge manga like nobody's business. Like, I would read 17, 18, 19 volume long series in 3-4 days. Like, I would get into it. Nowadays, I just don't have the attention span for it, or like I just can't like hunker down and get into it and read that much in such a contained period of time. And I'm a little bit sad about it, but also I've just evolved as a reader. I've changed, and for that reason, I've decided I'm not actually going to read all 5 volumes of Marygrave. I'm just going to read the one that I have just finished. I enjoyed this. It is not as dark as I thought it would be. It definitely takes on a more humorous approach to this kind of story. Like, it is still dark, but it's a dark comedy. And I didn't expect that comedy aspect. I still really enjoyed this. I am looking forward to reading the rest of the series. I'm just going to space it out a little bit. Um, yeah, I don't have it in me to binge it right now. So it still covers the prompt. I still read an entire volume, or the prompts, because this does cover 2. I still read a whole volume, and I'm gonna call that here. I know the readathon is still going for quite a while longer, but I am satisfied with my reading that I've done for this. I've covered all the prompts, even though I didn't have one book for each one, and I did DNF one, and I read less of the manga than I expected. It's fine. I am still happy with this. So, that means we have come to an end for this vlog. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. If this car would not interrupt my outro, that'd be great. If you would like to, you can subscribe to my channel, and that way I would see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.